Good morning, everybody. It's the most spectacular day today. It's just overwhelming, so how beautiful it is. And we have our special guest speaker today, Dr. Andrea Asebedo, which will be a lot of fun. And so if you're new today, I'd like to welcome you. And also, if you want to pick up a packet in the back from the ushers, and then also if you want to have a tour of the grounds, we would love to take you around. We have beautiful grounds here and a labyrinth and some other buildings, and we'd love to show it to you. So at this point, we're going to have an opening song by the 360 Band. And also, if you want to, at this time, wave to the camera, this would be a good time to do that. And also, say hi to your neighbor.
Hi, neighbor. Hello, camera. And the words should be showing up here momentarily. I will. If everybody would like to stand and sing, if you feel comfortable, for the beauty of the earth. There we go. And Miss Judy's going to play the piano for us.
Thank you. That was a good one. I felt like we were in church. Yeah. Yeah, I was singing out. So I'm Reverend Sue, and I just had a couple of important community announcements to make. And one, aren't these flowers just so beautiful up here? It's because we had a wedding here on our property yesterday. And would the bride and groom please stand? There they are. It was really sweet. It was just very intimate, and that's Tandy. She's in the pink, and Chris, her husband. And what love was shared. And we had witnesses of many cats and turkeys and one homeless person. And then her best friend was there as well. So it was just and then these flowers still spreading that joy. And the other thing I wanted to have Doug come up. Doug? So Doug called me the other day, and many of you remember his beloved wife, Ronnie. And he said, I want to do something really special in honor of Ronnie. It's been almost a year since she passed away. So we went out yesterday and we were wandering through Wintour Gardens, and we found the most perfect representation of who Ronnie was. And so this is a gift from Doug to the center on behalf of Ronnie. Isn't that just stunning? So, and he put a couple of pictures up here of Ronnie, so if you want to come and just remember her, as it's always nice to look at our hearts during these anniversary moments of someone's passing, but remember how much alive they are in our hearts. So, Doug, we thank you for bringing this to us. It's just so special. And I'm really protective of it. It's like, I feel like I just want to carry it around. Nobody heard it, but it's heavy. And then if I could just take this moment to invite the nurses in this room to stand up here. Just stand on the front. Ruby, Nadine, Christine. Anybody that's a nurse or a nurse practitioner or in the health profession. Just stand together for a moment. Yeah. And I want to read something on behalf of a friend of ours, a friend of the community's, a heroine. Many of you might have read about Susie Smith, but there's something about Susie. I went through all my nursing career with her, and she is a phenomenal. Everything you read about her in the Facebook or on the news reels is so true, and there's so much more. So I thought, in our own way, we would pay tribute to Susie the nurse, but also I think this is why it hits so hard to the nursing profession itself. So if Charlie could just sound one bell in honor of Susie, I want to read something that is just such a beautiful prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, when a nurse dies, the halls remember. The halls remember a place once warmed by her presence, not in echoes, but in the hush that settles over a place once warmed by her presence. When a nurse dies, the beds whisper stories of hands that were held, of words that healed, of moments she or he carried alone so others didn't have to. A light has gone out, but its warmth remains. In every nurse who stays late, she lives again. She's not gone. Susie is just on the other side of healing. So we bow to you, Susie. Rest now, brave soul. Your hands have done enough. Susie, your shift is complete. You are home. The world is better for knowing you, Susie. And we recognize that this divine knowing comforts her family and friends as well. A universal prayer of those we honor and love. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, nurses.
So I'd like to thank everybody in service today. We have the ushers and greeters and the sound team and the all-important kitchen cookies for afterwards. We can go get a snack and visit with others. And if you're new today, it's a great opportunity to meet some of the people who come here on a regular basis and vice versa. If you come here on a regular basis, talk to somebody new, get to know them, welcome them into the community, and have a nice discussion. But it is a beautiful day for a good service. If you can silence your devices, I appreciate that. And I'm going to start with a few announcements. I'm going to move through them pretty quick, but just a reminder, you get a handout, when you walk in, so everything's there. Also on our website. And then for those listening online, you can come on in and pick one up, but you can also read it on our website, as I mentioned. So the focus announcements today, just a few. We have a sock drive for veterans. It's going to be held at the Veterans Hall, at the District Fairgrounds, and it's going to be this Thursday, October 15th. And we've collected a lot of socks. And so they've already been, the ones we have have already been bundled up with a nice little tag put on them. And so they're going to be there on Thursday, at the District Fairgrounds. And if you want to drop by and see our booth and just kind of hang around and talk to people, it would be really welcome for you to show up and help let people know who we are, as a center. So it's very, very thankful for all that has been given. And then this is really, really key. This Saturday is going to be our holistic healing fair. And so this room is going to be full of different booths set up, for healing modalities. And so it's $5 to enter, and the Bliss team is going to have some food for sale as a fundraiser. But we did this last spring, and it was phenomenal. And then everybody, all the presenters, just wanted to have it again, so we're doing it this coming Saturday. So, and we'll have a healing touch table there too, which will be a lot of fun. So, also, you'll see in the foyer colorful gift bags. They're along the wall behind the greeter's desk. And so each one has a theme. And so if you have something you want to bring in and put into the bag, they're going to be made available for a raffle later on. So real quickly, Sisters meets Monday night. Roy's men's group meets Monday night. After service today, Dr. Reverend Mary Mitchell has her membership meeting class. It's in the boardroom, and you'll be able to find that just going down the hallway. And then also, it's a little bit early, but you got to be thinking about the annual Piggy Bank reunion is coming up on November 2nd. So if you get out your piggies and start filling them up with your pennies, quarters, silver dollars, or even dollar bills stuffed in there, we appreciate that. And so it's a fun way to help raise funds for the endowment fund, and we'll be talking more about that later. So with that said, I do want to invite Luana Godinza up to do our testimony for the drive, for our pledge drive. So Luana will be up today, and then followed up by Reverend Sue.
I have to regain my composure after that. These tributes. And there's a person sitting over there that I have a lot of history with as well, which has a lot to do with why the center is so important to me. I have a lot of history here, as both. Okay. Thank you. Okay, well, it was back when, in 1929, no, a long time ago, when I first started attending the center. And I can remember walking in on California Street and sitting in the back street back seat because I was so against church. But someone from that I worked with had invited me So I came and sat in the back, kind of reluctantly, but I liked what she had within her. So I went and signed up for my first class. I sat in the back and just cried the whole time because I heard from the podium things that I had always felt inside but had never heard articulated. And so I knew I was hearing something very deep and true for me. So I signed up for my first class, and Andrea was my first teacher, my first Science of Mind teacher. And I don't know where it was in that series of classes, but we did some sort of an exercise where we had to, state what we were going to become. I don't know what we wanted to be when we grow up, something on that effect. And I couldn't think of anything. And Andrea says, "You're going to be a minister." And I just yeah, right. Well, I don't know how many years later it was that she was on Maui to do my installation ceremony for me there. It was really beautiful. So I feel like I helped construct this building physically, actually, as well. So it means a lot to me in so many different ways. And I always say that I did grow up here because I was introduced to an incredible philosophy. The Science of Mind by Earnest Holmes, and that book has been something that's taken me deeper and deeper and deeper into myself. And I've realized that there's no end to that. And it's been said, several times that the Science of Mind book, the language of it is antiquated or, old or something, but the teaching lives on. The teaching is some of the deepest truth that I've ever witnessed and continues to grow with me as I grow. And it's just amazing. So I look at, even though the most of the time that I've been a part of this pledge program, I haven't even lived on the mainland. But it's important that not only this physical community is here, but it's also important to me that this teaching is nourished and it's here for anyone who wants to come. So, and to blossom as I did. So I look at it as, like a tree. You nurture and water the roots so that it grows and becomes strong and big, and it continues to offer nurturing and shade to everyone to come. So that's why I am part of the Pledge program, and I would never stop being a part of the Pledge program because I feel like what I give is, we all give in our own ways, but it's the way that I say thank you on the deepest level of myself to not only this community, this building, my history with it, but what it brings to this community at large and what it will continue to bring in the future. I always wanted to see it be here. And having said that, I also would like to tell those of you that may not remember that today is the fourth day of my 3-class series, the fourth class of my 3-class series. And because I tend to talk on and on sometimes, we didn't have time to really finish the last discussion, which was about a video that I introduced called The Essentials of the Essential Key of the Power of Intention. And so the classes have been about the power of intention, and if you would like to come today at noon, we're going to continue that discussion because it was quite deep, and we'll just go into that video a lot deeper, and I'd invite you to, and it's free. It's a continuation of the 3rd class. So feel free to come and join. And if we have time, we'll do an intention circle so you can experience the power of intention for yourself. Aloha.
Okay, do you guys have your study cards? I'm going to come get you at the end of all this. I'm going to be asking, what did you learn? So these are what we're talking about, these cards. And you know how you might be seeing somebody wander around with this in their hand and say, hey, they got an invitation, I didn't get one. Yeah, you did. They're just free for all. But that's what they look like. So you want to just carry it around with pride, and then you want to bring it back after you filled it out with pride. So I appreciate Luana's words. It takes me back to all those years as well, that hotel and all the different times, every place we've studied. So remember, part of our theme is, what is part of the theme besides rooted in love? Bees. Bees, right? Bees. So I, in my woo-woo way, brought you from the book of Beasties, the wisdom of the animal spirits and bugs. Bee. This is why the bee is one of our symbols this time. It represents order, harmony, sacred geometry, fertility. So listen to these words. The hive surrounded me trembles and throbs with industry. I tip my head into a cell momentarily to sense if it's clear. Turning around, I carefully and gracefully extend my abdomen into the cell and release a single perfect egg. As I exit and move steadily to the next task, my devoted court of bees moves with me, touching me, feeling me, grooming me, sustaining me. It's only with their support that I'm able to serve tirelessly as their queen. Right? No. I just thought that was so clever. And I just wanted to remind us, the idea of the bee is so connected to the whole. And each one of you is like one of those bees in the hive. Remember, we're all creating the honey together, harvesting it for the greater good of all. So enjoy that knowing. And then, very sweet, I got from Christy over here, she gave me little bee earrings this week. So I got a blessing on my ears. Thank you for listening. And just mark that on your cue card, because the test will be the first week in November. Thank you, everyone. Oh, all about me. Right now, Charlie's going to come up, and there's going to be the sound of the bell to invite you to the still place. And a little history of the bell was brought to us by Andrea. And it was so many years ago, and that tradition still continues on today. The sound of the bell is bringing you home, and that's what it's all about. And Dr. Andrea being home here, she raised a lot of us, so we pretend she's older than us. Doesn't she look marvelous? She is our mother, our queen. But it's just such a joy to have her come back and visit and inspire us. And she has recently retired from her role as the senior minister in Bellingham. And no, she doesn't want to come here and be the new minister, but just to save you writing me an email, no. But she'll come and visit us as often as she can and share her wisdom. So there's so much to say about Andrea, but let's just go into the sound of the bell, the prayer of our heart, and then just sit back and enjoy the message from Dr. Andrea.
Please know with me, after that pause of silence, having allowed the sound of the bell to penetrate deep within my soul, to resonate with the God seed that's deep within. And that awakening and that quickening allows me to recognize that there is just one love, one spirit, one energy that's everywhere present. And so I know this energy and this love and this God also as nature, as the earth, and the beauty of the earth. So I allow that to resonate deep within as me, knowing that I am a perfect representation of the One, manifesting in my own unique and beautiful way. And with the power of this knowing and the depth of this knowing, I allow myself to be alert, awake and ready to what's needed, not only today for myself, but also for this community and this earth. So I take great pride in taking care of this place, not only this community, but our surroundings and our earth, but also the world community. And so I know in today's talk from Dr. Andrea that we allow ourselves to be open at the top and to hear from her heart, her sharing, and her message about the reverence for the earth and the deep, deep knowing that we are all one and we're in this all together. So I give thanks for today and for today's message and for the community that we have here, which is a beehive that grows and grows and gets stronger and stronger. So I release this word and this prayer into law, knowing full well it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Dr. Andrea.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Terrific. And does everybody have a blueberry? If you do not have a blueberry, raise your hand and our ushers will come and give you a blueberry. Mine seems to have rolled off the podium, so I need one too. Keep those hands up and we'll make sure that you've got blueberries. Here's one here. I didn't get one yet. John, do you have an extra one? No. Well, thank you, but you should have one too. Someone asked if if Joe and I brought these from Bellingham. It's a big blueberry place. No, these are from Holiday, right up the road. So let me tell you a little bit about the topic, and then we'll get to the blueberry. So you've been experiencing the theme for the month, which is Be the Light. And my topic is Reverence for the Earth, which Sue knew I would love, and so she gave that topic to me. And so I wanted to bring to you kind of the awarenesses that I've developed over these many years by using a Mary Oliver. It's not really a poem, and many of you will know it because it's one of her most famous writings. Everyone knows Mary Oliver, right? So poet, an amazing woman. She has something called Instructions for Living a Life. Pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. That's it. Instructions for living a life. So let's talk about paying attention. And I'll go deeper into this, but the blueberry has to do with that. Many of you know that I've been studying with the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh for the last 30 years as part of an augmentation of the science of mind, a meditation practice, learning about paying attention, really. meditation in a nutshell is paying attention. So one of the very first experiences I had was at Spirit Rock in the Bay Area. Thich Nhat Hanh was scheduled to be there, and Jack Kornfield was there, and there were 1,000 people there. And as we entered into the outdoor amphitheater, there were ushers just like today, only they had apples. And everyone got an apple. Some were yellow, some were red, some were pink, but everyone got an apple. We were just instructed, like you were, don't eat them. Don't eat them, just hold on to them. And so Jack Kornfield got up, and he started talking about the history of each of these apples, what farm they came from, what the farmers' names were, what variety this apple was, and how it had been developed. It took a good 15 minutes just to hear the history of the apple that we were holding in our hands. And then we were encouraged to really look deeply at the apple. So look deeply at your blueberry for a minute. I'm sorry to say I don't know where this blueberry came from, but you know, the chances are actually very good that they came from Washington State, where I live now. So looking at the blueberry, it's such a simple thing. Mine's a little crushed from being in the little box. And once we had really taken in the blueberry, remember you're paying attention, so you're really looking at it, not just sort of glancing. And you're noticing things like it has different colors. And it seems to have like a little sort of white shine to some parts of it. Once you've really taken that in, I'm going to have you put the blueberry in your mouth, but don't eat it. So let's do that. They're washed. And now I'd like you to chew that blueberry 20 times. See if you can make it 20. And as you're chewing, pay attention to how the flavor and the texture changes in your mouth. I made it to 14. And the purpose of the apple blueberry experience was to remind all of us that when we deeply pay attention to things, the savor of what they are becomes much more evident. Now, if you're like me, in the morning, one of the first things I do is I go and I get a cup of coffee. And I, get the coffee going, and I make the coffee, and then I go sit in my wonderful chair with my wonderful dog on my lap, and I drink my coffee, and I play games. Do I taste the coffee? Sort of. But what would happen if I put the phone down, stopped playing the games, as lovely and fun as they are, and just sat with the coffee for a moment, taking in, I don't know, how many of you drink coffee? Yeah. Or tea, if you're a tea drinker. There's something really, really magical about the steam coming off of a hot cup of coffee or tea. The smell as you move the cup toward your lips. The first taste as you drink it, and sometimes it's a little hot, too hot maybe, and it slides down your throat, and you're like, wow. There's something very special about being present to that. And I don't do it that often. I do it a little bit, because I've been trained for so long in the tradition of paying attention and meditation that even with the games and the dog and the coffee, there's a part of me that really knows what a special moment it is. So, paying attention has to do with this ability to be fully present with whatever is. And in being fully present to whatever is, the beauty of what it is begins to be revealed. And we begin to have a totally different experience in our lives. So there's a permaculturist who was writing to a friend of mine, and it was such a beautiful piece of writing, and it has to do with what happens when we can literally give ourselves to a moment, that I thought I would read it to you. The crickets pulse, and the sound of recent rains in the river fills this valley. Some of the last fruits, apple and pear, draw closer to ripeness. The gardens still abound, but it's all on the wane now. Another year begins to draw to a close. The Big Dipper sinks lower each evening, and some late night soon, Orion will appear. The full moon rises and begins to light up the mountains. The world at hand, so starkly opposed to what I hear on the quote-unquote news. Right here, right now, the news is fresh corn and blueberries, and the sweet smell of a down valley breeze laden with yesterday's aroma of rain on moss as it leaves the forest and floats through my yard. It's the aroma of nectar-filled water being evaporated by busy beehives working in the garden below me. It's the smell of ripe hops and black walnut leaves silhouetted against the light, brightening moon-lit sky. I wish for the news everywhere to be so peaceful, however different it might be for people in all the corners of this good earth. I thought that was very beautiful, just a capture of his garden and his world. And so why am I talking about this in relationship to the reverence for the earth? It seems to me that Mary Oliver's first instruction, paying attention, is kind of the key, sort of the linchpin to opening us to a world that allows us to be much more joyful, much more alive, much more awake in the world, because we're present in it. We're not distracted by the various things that we all distract ourselves with. Well, maybe not you, but most of the people I know, including me from time to time, find distraction to be more of the mode of living in this world of ours that we've created, and being fully present, much less the mode of how we live. And distraction takes so many forms, doesn't it? I mean, for me, it's everything from food, the computer, the news, and everything else that goes along with it. So what I know is that when we are fully awake in the world, even if it's just for nanoseconds at a time, something happens that's really critical to our ability to be fully human, sacred in every way. And what that is it's a form of reciprocity, a form of giving and receiving that can't happen when we're not present. So to really receive the gifts of the world, Robin Kimmerer, the authoress of Braiding Sweetgrass, says that, to receive the world, we have to be present in it. And as we receive the world, when we're fully here with it, then we have the ability to give back to it in a way that nourishes both the receiver and the giver at the same moment. And I find that to be a very powerful thought. I bet you've experienced, like I have, that can happen in love relationships, whether it's love for an animal or love for a sacred human, a love for a place, that when we are truly fully present in that love, it comes back to us in that very moment. It's like there's no time passing in the giving and the receiving. And so reverence for the earth happens when we're fully present in our yards, by the Sacramento River, crossing the Sundial Bridge. We went to Lima Ranch yesterday and walked the ranch. When we're fully present in it, there's a reciprocity, a giving and receiving that takes place that I believe really nourishes the earth as much as we are nourished. And I think at some level, we all kind of know that. But when she wrote that, that was the first time I'd really thought about it. I'd experienced it, and I'll tell you how. There's a women's retreat coming up, and Sue and I used to run women's retreats for years and years and years. And every year it'd be a different theme, and every year we would say to the women that had signed up, all right, you're going to bring something to the altar that we'll have in the center of our circle. And every year it was different. It was like, okay, bring something that reminds you of joy. Bring something that reminds you of what you love. Bring something, and on it went, on it went. And every single year, you know what the women brought? Rocks. Rocks. Special rocks, special stones, special minerals. I mean, literally, the altar would have 2/3 of it were rocks. And then 1/3 would be pictures of grandchildren. It was just kind of like that. And to me, that says we know our connection to the earth. We know how it sustains us at some level. And we know that in having those special mementos from the earth, there's something that aids us in remembering who we are, who we truly are. So it's amazing, really, if you think about it. How many of you have special rocks at home? Raise your hand. How many have more than 5? Yeah. I rest my case there, So the second instruction in living a life is to be astonished. And this one, I'm trying to think how best to speak to this. Joe and I were visiting his college friends over in McKinleyville, and we had a little Airbnb, and we had invited them all over, and one of his friends is a scuba diver, and he's 70 years old, and every year he goes on a scuba diving trip, mostly so that he doesn't have to get recertified. If you go once a year, you don't have to get recertified. So every year he goes on a trip, and this year was like the penultimate trip of his diving experience that he had been waiting to do for years. He went to the Galapagos. Not only did he go to the Galapagos, but for the first time in his diving career, he lived on board a dive ship where he was fed and where all the dive tanks were, and they dove 3 times a day. The first dive at 6:15 in the morning. Ew. So he was talking about this trip, and the part that I wanted to bring you, because it was an amazing story, is so to dive in the Galapagos, the currents there are incredibly strong, sometimes moving at 6 to 8 knots, which is just an enormous volume of water moving. And so to be able to dive there, you have to be strong enough to make your way to the bottom of the reef and hold on for dear life. Otherwise, if you let go of your grip or lose your grip, you'll literally tumble and be lost. So every diver had a GPS with a little antenna that they had strapped to themselves so that if that happened, hopefully they could be found. So that was sort of amazing and astonishing right there. But Richard was his name. Richard was saying that the deepest dive he did was 130 feet. So to do that, you have to take in nitrix, which keeps you from having the bends, right? Because that's so deep. So he's down at that level, hanging on for dear life to this reef. And the deeper you go in an ocean, the darker it gets, right? The light doesn't penetrate. So he's down deep enough so that it's the deep deep dark blue. And he's hanging on, and there's a crevasse right past the reef. And he said he's hanging on, and he's around him, swirling up above, are 100 hammerhead sharks. And right there, I'm like, okay, that's not the dive for me. But they left him alone. They didn't care. And as he's paying attention to the hammerheads, one of his dive buddies taps him on the shoulder and points at the crevasse. And out of this crack in the earth, the deep earth, comes swimming up, straight up, a sunfish. Do you know what those are? Mola mola. They're these enormous round fish. The Monterey Bay Aquarium has one. So this fish is coming up from the depths. They live in the deep sea. And it's coming up and up and up and up. It literally, he said, was between 10 and 12 feet tall and 8 feet wide. So they're literally doing this. An amazing experience, astonishing to be in the presence of that kind of experience of the earth. And as he's talking about it, I was watching everybody in the room, and we were astonished and amazed, just like I hope you are, and not bored. And it was a reminder to me of the power of putting ourselves in different situations to be astonished, to be awakened again into the mystery of being a sacred human on this beautiful earth. That kind of experience we can all have, maybe not with the sunfish, and all that, but we can have that kind of experience, but it really takes the willingness to put ourselves in different situations than the normal, go get my coffee, go sit in my chair, the dog gets in my lap, I'm playing my games, I'm doing the coffee. You don't experience astonishment there, typically. So I ask myself, well, why don't I do that more often? Don't you think that too sometimes? It's like, well, how could I do that in my own way that doesn't involve thousands of dollars and millions of miles travel and risking our lives breathing nitrous, so that we can see the sunfish? How do you do that? And I've been studying a woman, maybe you've heard of her, she just recently passed away. Her name is Joanna Macy. And if you haven't read anything by Joanna, she's an amazing author and an amazing being here. Joanna has written a number of books, but one of the books I think it's called Awakening, what's it called? The World as Lover, World as Self, I think it is. And so one of the things she's famous for is talking about how to be engaged in the world as a social activist in whatever way you want. Not so much political activism, but really more of the societal, social issues. And so, she would encounter lots and lots of people who were afraid to be willing to put themselves out in a way for different causes. And I was one of those people. I have a real dislike of being a target. How about you? I mean, I don't want to put myself so far out there that people can start throwing rocks at me and hurt me with their words or their actions. So she was speaking about that. And I wanted to read this to you. I hope it makes sense to you, because for me, this was really quite an amazing reflection. So she says, of course, even when you see the world as a trap and posit a fundamental separation between liberation of self and transformation of society, you can still feel a compassionate impulse to help its suffering beings. In that case, you tend to view the personal and the political in a sequential fashion. I'll get enlightened first, and then I'll engage in social action. That was me. It's like, okay, I'll get strong enough in my own illumination and then I'll go out and I won't be afraid anymore. by the way, that's false. Those who are not engaged on a spiritual path put it a little differently. They say, I'll get my head straight first. I'll get psychoanalyzed. I'll overcome my inhibitions, my neuroses, my hang-ups, and then I'll wade into the fray. Presupposing that world and self are essentially separate. And that's the main point right there. Presupposing that the world and the self are essentially separate. We imagine we can heal one before healing the other. This stance conveys the impression that human consciousness inhabits some haven or locker room independent of the collective situation and then trots out onto the playing field when it's all geared up and ready. But what she says is, it's my experience that the world itself has a role to play in our liberation, in our illumination. Its very pressures and pains and risks can wake us up, release us from the bonds of ego, and guide us home to our vast, true nature. For some of us, our love of the world is so passionate that we cannot ask it to wait until we're enlightened. And I thought, oh, darn. I guess my waiting is over and I better get involved. And so I started to do that. But then, what came to me was, the other reason that that Joanna indicates but doesn't really talk about is the other reason that I hesitate is I'm afraid. I'm afraid of whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter what I'm afraid of. And I realized that that's where the distraction comes in so handy. It's like, I don't know about you. I've been a minister for 40 years now. And so I think thoughts that I realize are sometimes different than other people. And so while I'm having my coffee and playing my games and having the dog on my lap and all that, I'm also thinking about how I can make a difference in the world. And as I'm thinking about that, what I'm noticing is there's a part of me that is back here going, you already are. It's okay. You don't have to do anything else. In fact, it would probably be good if you just let other people handle that and you just do your little thing here and la, 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 la. And when I really listen to that voice, I hear fear. I hear this not wanting to risk myself. And then I play my game. It's very, very illuminating when you begin to notice you're being self-distracting and you start paying attention to that. You go, well, why am I doing that right now? Why do I need that piece of chocolate right now? Why do I need to turn the television on right now? Why do I need to fill in your favorite distraction? Why do I need to do that right now? What's that about? And if you're like me, the answer is right there as soon as you ask the question. Oh, I was thinking about, and now I am trying not to think about. So being astonished requires that not only do we pay attention, but that we actually become present in whatever is risky so that we can be astonished by it. Whether it's a sunfish in the Pacific Ocean in a crevasse coming up, or it's some move we make that surprises even us, that astonishes even us because we've been willing to risk, to step out, to be part of, and to admit that we're part of in a way that is incontrovertible. So we can't do that. We can't be astonished if we're afraid to feel all the feelings. And distraction is primary for making it so we don't feel the feelings. We can't be astonished without the feelings. You can't numb one part of yourself. It numbs everything. So, whether it's a banana nut muffin or a comedy show or some sort of other distraction on the computer, when we do that there, it has an effect on our whole reality. And so that's where the work lies for me. I don't know about you, but for me, For me to be present in the world, to have reverence for the earth is no longer just a thought. It requires my involvement. It requires my attention. It requires me to be astonished, which means that I have to feel my feelings and risk myself anyway in the many ways that I do, so that we can have the energy that we've been using to distract ourselves back enough to have the creative impulses that will support us in the risk. Do you follow that? This is my direct experience these days, is risking. And it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying, but it's also invigorating and astonishing and opens the world in ways that I couldn't have known playing a computer game. Just so. Now, let's be clear. There's a place for computer games and banana nut muffins and chocolate. There is. It's just when we use them in this particular way that it becomes a problem. Not to anybody else, just to our own aliveness, just to our ability to be vital in the world, no matter how old we are. So the last instruction that Mary gives us is to tell about it. So pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it, which I just did. So let me do a prayer, and we'll close. Judy, may I have you up? I'm going to say the prayer for myself, but I also am knowing it for any of you who would like this prayer to be active in your life. So know with me as I know for myself. There is one infinite love and powerful intelligence at work. Call it what we will. It is operating in and through all reality. And certainly in this beautiful world of ours, that intelligence and love is emanating from every rock and river and tree and flower and every sacred human when we allow it. So I accept for myself and any of you who are listening that I do allow a vast love to hold me and sustain me in this beautiful world, and an incredible intelligence to move in me in such a way that I not only notice how beautiful the world is, but I move into action in the ways that are right for me to make my love tangible in this world of ours, offering love to people and animals and plants and minerals, and being engaged in the world by being fully attentive, fully present. And as I bring my full attention and presence to my life and to the world, astonishing opportunities arise. I am moved forward, revitalized, energized, and opened. And this is an astonishing good. So I accept it. I accept my own ability to be very present, to pay attention deeply, and to allow the work of this intelligence and love to open me more and more fully to what is mine to do, the next right step. So I'm grateful, so very grateful to have been given this human form in this time and place. And I use it wisely and well. And so it is. Thank you, everyone.
This next song we're going to perform was written by my friend John Hoover, and it reminds me of when I was a kid. I'd go and play in our meadow and creek, and we had a big canyon where I'd go and hang out. It's called Cosmic Encounter. Rains begin to pour, they touch the earth. Lips of life so sweet, they bless the dirt. Oh, I can feel my soul become real, and I sing. Beyond walls, beyond man, beyond my body, I am spring. Oh, all I see is good. All that I touch in this wood, all that I taste and all that I smell, in Mother's hands I am well. Every tree and every leaf begins to sing, harmonizes with birds and falling water clean. The symphony rises high and colors this land. Flowers dance, bees romance, life is full in Mother's hand. Oh, all I see is good. All that I touch in this wood, all that I taste and all that I smell, in Mother's hands I am well. Fingers and toes become my roots. I take my hold. Oh, right there. There we go. On my stomach, I become this world. Fingers and toes become roots. I take my hold. I spin through time and space on this tiny blue sphere. But safe at my mother's breast, I know I will not taste fear. Oh, all I see is good. All that I touch in this wood, all that I taste and all that I smell, in Mother's hands I am well. Yes, in Mother's hands I am well. Oh, in Mother's hands I am well.
I'd like to invite the ushers forward. And while they're coming up, I did want to remind you that, because I didn't say it before, but in service today as practitioners is Dr. Mary and then Christine. We're all here to do prayer support after service. So please join me as we prepare for the offering. And thank you, Andrea, for your talk, because it reminds me of the term spiritual warrior, which I really love that term, because it means standing strong in your spirituality, out there in the world, knowing your place, knowing your values. And so it's a good pep talk, for us to be awake and ready and be strong. So join me in preparing for the offering. As I prepare to give my offering, my heart is filled with love and appreciation. And I know as I give to this center to help it prosper and grow, I know that it also helps prosper and grow who I am at the center of who I am. And so we give and we receive not only our financial give, but also our service to the one, our service to this community. And we know that what we do is in circulation for the one, the greater one. Thank you, and so it is.
In the spirit of the season, I've added something to our song.
Notice his skeleton only goes down to his belt.
Okay. Here it is. I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his last slab began to rise. Suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash.
he did the monster mash.
He loves to mash.
The monster got in a
He did the
flash.
mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash.
It was a monster mash. Well, from my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast, the ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
They did the mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They did the mash.
The monster mash. Well, the scene was all rockin'. All were digging the sounds. Igor on chains, backed by his baying hounds. Coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker
They
Five.
played the mash.
They did the monster mash.
They played the mash.
They want the graveyard smash.
They played the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They played the mash.
It was a graveyard smash. Well, out from his coffin, Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?
It's now the mash.
It's now the monster mash.
It's now the mash.
It got on in a flash.
It's now the mash.
It was a monster mash.
It's now the mash.
It was a monster mash. Oh, everything's cool. Drax part of the band. And my monster mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, tell 'em Boris sent you.
Then you can mash.
Then you can monster mash.
Then you can mash.
Oh, it caught on in a flash.
Then you can mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
Then you can mash.
It was a monster mash. Oh. Whoa. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. The monster mash.
I'm scared. That was fun. Thank you so much.
We're all kids here, right?
So just know with me that we are so blessed. We're blessed for this community and for the growth of the community and all that is given and all that is received as it flows continuously. So I release this thanksgiving and this prayer into law, and together we say, and so it is. So just a reminder, you've got beehives out there to take a look at, and the card that you can pick up and wear on your, as a badge, and also Luana's workshop afterwards, and we got the social hall afterwards as well. And so just want to thank you for being here today. We're going to have 2 more songs. We're going to have a regular song and then the peace song, afterwards. So thank you so much for being here, and have a great day.
The regular song is also one you're invited to sing along with. It should be showing up there. This land is your land.
As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. Oh, this land was made for you and me.
Feel free to stand up.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
I've roamed and rambled and followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond desert, and all around me a voice was sounding.
This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
When the sun came shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, as the fog was lifting, a voice was chanting.
This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land was made for you and me. Once more. Oh, this land was made for you and me. Yeah.
And the peace song will send us all off with peace in our hearts. And the peace song's going to show up here. And Judy's on the piano. There we go.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God in perfect